Very good morning. You're watching Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha. Let's start straight away with the headlines this morning. Prime Minister launches National Agriculture Market Portal eNAM, says it's a turning point in farm sector, calls for scientific methods to boost farmers' income. Lok Sabha Ethics Committee seeks explanation from 5 TMC MPs over sting operation. Party says it will respond at an appropriate time. Second phase of odd-even formula in Delhi from today. Even number cars to stay off roads. Delhi government says lessons learned from shortcomings in the first phase. It is fully prepared. Mercury soars in many parts of the country. Heatwave claims dozens of lives in Telangana and Odisha. Delhi swelters at 41 degrees on Thursday. And powerful 6.4 magnitude quake hits Japan. At least 9 people reported dead. Kyushu Island severely hit. No tsunami warnings issued. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the National Agriculture Market Portal, or the eNAM, in Delhi yesterday. The portal integrates 21 mandis in 8 states for online trading of commodities. Speaking on the occasion, the Prime Minister pitched for value addition and use of scientific methods in agriculture to double the income of farmers and make the country self-sufficient. The Prime Minister said e-agri market is a turning point in the farm sector, which will benefit not only the farmers, but also traders and consumers at large. Through this pilot launch of eNAM, Modi said farmers can sell as many as 25 agricultural commodities in 21 mandis in 8 states, which include Gujarat, Telangana, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Jharkhand and Himachal Pradesh. The government aims to integrate proposed 585 wholesale mandis much before March 2018.
मैं विश्वास से कहता हूं कि अब मेरा किसान तय करेगा कि उसका माल कहां बिकेगा, कब बिकेगा, कितने दाम से बिकेगा, इसका फैसला मेरा किसान करेगा और कंज्यूमर को कभी कोई बोझ नहीं होगा, ये मेरा भरोसा है। ट्रांसपेरेंसी आएगी। इस मार्केट में आने के कारण भारत सरकार भी बड़ी आसानी से, राज्य सरकारें भी मॉनिटर कर सकती हैं कि कहां पर क्या उत्पादन है, कितना ज्यादा मात्रा में है। इससे ये भी पता चलेगा ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सिस्टम कैसी होनी चाहिए, गोडाउन का उपयोग कैसे होना चाहिए, इस गोडाउन में माल शिफ्ट कर रहा है कि उस गोडाउन में, यानी हर चीज एक पोर्टल के माध्यम से हम वैज्ञानिक तरीके से कर सकते हैं.
And on to news from Parliament. The Ethics Committee of Lok Sabha has sought explanation from 5 Trinamool Congress MPs who were allegedly caught in a sting operation accepting cash last month. PTI is quoting sources as saying that the panel headed by BJP MP LK Advani has asked the TMC members to explain their position in the matter. The panel had earlier asked news portal Narda News, which had released videotapes of the sting, about the source of the clips and whether it stood by the sting operation. The panel is understood to have sought the explanation from the MPs after getting the response from the news portal. The TMC, in fact, has said that it will respond at an appropriate time, while the BJP has said that it unmasks the TMC. The CPIM has said that the move should have come earlier.
Notice, have 5 members को notice मिला है ethics committee. They're all responsible MPs. उन लोग जो चिट्ठी मिल गया, response देगा as per the rules of parliament. Parliamentary rules है, parliamentary procedure है. हमारा जो सांसद है वो, they know this very, very well. They will respond in the appropriate time.
Finally, they have woken up to doing this. This should have been done on the first day itself. But then what about the Rajya Sabha MPs? Why did this government not refer the matter in the Rajya Sabha to the Rajya Sabha Ethics Committee in spite of our raising it? So that is the match fixing that is going on. The BJP does not require the Trinamool support in Lok Sabha. They require it in Rajya Sabha.
नोटिस हमने इसलिए दिया है कि उनका वर्जन आ जाए, उसके बाद स्टिंग ऑपरेशन जिन्होंने किया उनका, वो तो विस्ल ब्लोअर हैं, उनका भी नोटिस आ जाए, और उसके बाद क्योंकि ये करप्शन का मामला है, इसके बाद एथिक्स कमेटी तो सांसदों का आचरण है उसमें अपनी कार्रवाई करेगी.
Talking about notices, the Election Commission has also issued a show-cause notice to West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee for allegedly violating the Model Code of Conduct. The poll code violation came during an election rally in Asansol, where Mamata announced the creation of a new district. The Chief Minister now has to answer the notice, failing which the Election Commission can take action against her. According to news reports, Mamata Banerjee, however, justified her announcement and even claimed that she will do it again if need be.
It was brought to the knowledge of the Commission that some kind of promise was made in for creation of Asansol district, and on that basis there is a detailed show cause notice which will be displayed on our website.
EC has now show-caused Didi for her comments made at a rally in Asansol. The apparent reason, we've been told, is that because she made some promises about Asansol being a new district, which is against the EC Model Code of Conduct. This is ludicrous, totally crazy.
Good. Finally, they have woken up to doing this. This should have been done on the first day itself. But then what about the Rajya Sabha MPs? Why did this government not refer the matter in the Rajya Sabha to the Rajya Sabha Ethics Committee in spite of our raising it? So that is the match fixing that is going on. The BJP does not require the Trinamool support in Lok Sabha. They require it in Rajya Sabha.
पूरे बंगाल के अंदर एक उत्साह है ममता की कुरीतियों की वजह से। ममता ने जिस तरह से नौजवानों को यहाँ पर एक झूठा एक ढांढस दिया था, शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में गरीबों को, किसानों को जो एक आस दी थी, उसमें वो बुरी तरह से वो फेल हुई हैं।
A quick check now on all the other election-related stories this morning. Campaigning for the second phase of assembly polls in West Bengal will end today. Voting will be held in 6 North Bengal districts, including Jalpaiguri, Darjeeling and Malda. The second phase of the polling for 56 assembly constituencies will take place on the 17th of April. The first phase of the 6-phase elections in the state was held in 2 parts on 11th and 14th of April. The BJP released its third list of 57 candidates for the Tamil Nadu Assembly polls. The party is fighting the polls in alliance with some small outfits after almost all its allies in the Lok Sabha elections walked out. Polling will be held in the state on the 16th of May. The BJP has also released names of 16 contestants for the Puducherry Assembly elections. The Union Territory has 30 assembly constituencies. The Election Commission has transferred Birbhum SP Mukesh Kumar and the officers in charge of 3 police stations in the district following a review of poor preparedness in West Bengal. The move comes days after controversial Kolkata Police Commissioner Rajiv Kumar was removed from his post following complaints against him by major opposition parties. Birbhum votes in the second phase of the elections on Sunday. And back in the national capital, the second phase of the odd-even scheme begins today in Delhi. Cars with even numbers will stay off roads today since it's a public holiday today on account of Ram Navami, so there isn't much rush expected on public transport facilities. Delhi Metro and Delhi Transport Corporation have announced extra trains and buses. 2,000 traffic personnel, 580 enforcement officials and over 5,000 civil defense volunteers are being deployed on the roads of the national capital every day for the next 15 days. Also, a 20-member special task force has been set up to look into matters reported by the mobile teams. Violators will be fined 2,000 rupees. The scheme, however, will not be implemented on Sundays. The only change in the blueprint of the policy's implementation from its first phase is the exemption given to cars carrying children in school uniform, apart from those being driven by women, VIPs, except ministers in the Aam Aadmi Party government, and also CNG vehicles with mandatory stickers.
सरकार की तरफ से तैयारियां पूरी हो चुकी हैं। सभी डिपार्टमेंट्स ने उनको जो टास्क दिए गए थे, चाहे वो ट्रांसपोर्ट के इन्फोर्समेंट विंग हो, ट्रैफिक पुलिस हो, दिल्ली मेट्रो हो, डीटीसी हो, डिम्स हो, एनवायरमेंट डिपार्टमेंट हो, पीडब्ल्यूडी हो, सारे डिपार्टमेंट्स ने अपनी तैयारियां पूरी कर ली हैं। लेकिन इस बार पिछले बार के अनुभव से बहुत सारी शंकाओं का समाधान हो चुका है और पिछली बार सरकार ने फैसला किया था। इस बार दिल्ली के लोगों ने यह फैसला किया और सरकार पे दबाव बनाया कि आप ऑड इवन तुरंत लेकर के आओ और दोबारा ऑड इवन उन्हीं के फैसले से आया है।
And we'll take a very short break here, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Do stay with us.
we should have teaching of earth sciences in school. Our aim should be that the youngsters should not only think about physics, chemistry, maths, biology, but also geology. I can survive without wearing a gold, but I cannot survive if I don't take water even for one day.
Watch Eureka only on Rajya Sabha TV.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Thanks for staying with us on Breakfast News. Moving on to Kerala now. The State High Court has allowed low decibel fireworks display in the night during the ongoing Puram festival in Thrissur. The temple has been exempted from the ban imposed in the wake of Kollam Puttingal temple tragedy on Sunday that claimed 113 lives. The court said in its order that no unauthorized chemicals should be used in the fireworks and the sound level should not exceed 125 decibel. The Puram festival is currently on and will culminate on the 18th of April. Meanwhile, the state government has also decided not to impose a total ban on fireworks display during festivities. The decision was taken after an all-party meeting held yesterday. The government, however, advocated adherence to strict controls and checks and avoiding high decibel crackers. Chief Minister Oommen Chandy said under no circumstances competitive fireworks would be allowed and warned of stern action against those indulging in such acts. The state government also said it has an open mind on the demand for CBI probe into the Puttingal Devi Temple fireworks tragedy.
നിരോധനമല്ല, ഫലപ്രദമായ നിയന്ത്രണം വേണം. ഫലപ്രദമായ നിയന്ത്രണം എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ ഈ മത്സരക്കമ്പം ഇന്ന് നിരോധിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. അത് ഒരു സാഹചര്യത്തിലും അനുവദിക്കുന്ന പ്രശ്നമില്ല. അത് എവിടെ നടത്താൻ ശ്രമിച്ചാലും അവിടെ കർക്കശമായ നിലപാട് സ്വീകരിക്കാൻ ഉദ്യോഗസ്ഥന്മാർക്ക് നിർദ്ദേശം കൊടുക്കുന്നതാണ്.
It has been unanimously resolved that this incident has to be declared as a national calamity, and also we have decided to completely ban the competition in the case of fireworks, and also the norms will be fully enforced by the police and other agencies so that the total security will be ensured.
Talking about weather now, most parts of the country sweltered under a blazing sun yesterday, with heat wave claiming dozens of lives in Telangana and Odisha this season. The Met Department predicts that it will get worse as the summer deepens. Nearly 70 people have died in the last week in Odisha and Telangana as a heat wave sweeps across the country. Mercury in Odisha crossed the 45 degrees mark in some places. The Met Department has warned there will be no relief from the ongoing heat wave for at least a week, as temperatures are likely to remain several notches above average.
Day temperature is continue to rise over most of the parts of Odisha, and for the interior and western districts, the temperature at most of the places are 40 degrees Celsius or more for last 15 days. This tendency of rising temperature will continue for another 6 to 7 days. Because this is not westerly or northwesterly part wind flow, it supports rise in temperature in most of the places.
Many people were forced to stay indoors due to the blistering heat. Those who went out of their homes had to take measures like covering themselves or using umbrellas. At such a time, volunteers from non-government and other organizations have taken the initiative to distribute cold water and refreshing drinks to people to reduce the stress of heat.
ओडिशा से 30 से ज्यादा लोग अंशुघात में डेथ हुआ है, इसीलिए हम डिसीजन लिए जो लोगों को इस टाइम पे ठंडा पानी और शरबत, दही शरबत देने के लिए हम डिसीजन लिए हैं, और ये प्रयास अभी तक चल रहा है। वो अंशुघात होने तक ये चला रहेगा.
I think we have to drink lots of water, coconut water probably, and then maybe we need to wear caps like this, and especially the kids have to take a lot of care because sunstrokes wala chala problems vastayi kabatti.
With the maximum temperature in Delhi recorded at 41 degrees Celsius on Thursday, the Met Department has called it the hottest April in 5 years and predicts that it will get worse as the summer deepens. Night temperatures for the next week is also predicted to be higher than normal. The Met Department has extended the heat wave warning in Hyderabad and several other Telangana districts to 3 more days. Officials have now resorted to urging the government to take immediate preventive measures to avoid a rise in heat stroke deaths. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And shifting focus to some other news, anti-Pakistan protests have erupted in various parts of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir over Islamabad's alleged discrimination in employment to local youth. Jobs which are rare in the area are being handed to Pakistani youth, and the Kashmiri youth are allegedly being marginalized. About 100 people owing allegiance to Jammu and Kashmir National Students Federation, along with some members of Jammu and Kashmir National Awami Party, carried out a demonstration rally at Muzaffarabad in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, condemning the oppressive rule by Pakistani authorities and the local POK government. They demanded an independent Kashmir and raised slogans to this effect. The demonstrators also raised anti-Pakistan slogans, resulting in crackdown on the rally by the local police. The police also resorted to heavy lathi charge and took the protesters into custody. India has reacted to the crackdown, saying there are no human rights in Pak-occupied Kashmir.
The situation in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir region is always very disturbing. Pakistan has never given any value and any kind of interest in maintaining the human rights. So it is not the first time that the human rights violation is visible in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, especially by the Pakistani army and the security people.
So India is just supporting them and demanding, it's ultimately the territory has to be returned. It has to be merged with Jammu and Kashmir state, and the local people, this is what the local people also want. The Jammu and Kashmir people also want.
And just days after Pakistani High Commissioner to India, Abdul Basit, announced suspension of talks with India, another top Pakistani official has said that the dialogue is the best option between India and Pakistan. Pakistan Foreign Office spokesperson Nafeez Zakaria has said that the two sides should not think in terms of foreclosing any options. He also said that the two sides are in contact with each other, and once the modalities are worked out, secretary-level talks will take place. Zakaria's comments came just days after Pak High Commissioner to India Abdul Basit said the bilateral peace process stands suspended with India. When asked if the position in Islamabad is similar to Pakistan's High Commissioner to New Delhi, Zakaria said that at his level in the Foreign Affairs Ministry, they do not give a day-to-day running commentary on official policy. He added that Pakistan was committed to resolving all outstanding issues with India through a sustainable, uninterrupted and meaningful dialogue without any preconditions in order to address each other's concerns and also establish lasting peace. Moving on, the United States has asked Pakistan to target all militant groups equally. This follows the release of a latest American State Department cable which suggested strong links between Pakistan's notorious spy agency, the ISI, as well as the Haqqani network. According to one of the cables, the ISI paid a whopping $200,000 to the dreaded Haqqani network for a suicide attack on a CIA camp in Afghanistan back in 2009. 7 American agents and contractors and 3 others were killed in that attack. The US has maintained that the attack on a CIA base in Afghanistan was the handiwork of Al-Qaeda and not the Haqqani network. Now, according to an intelligence official, the information in the cable obtained from a source on the ground could not be corroborated, and there is no other cable matching this information. The US has once again stated that they have made it clear what their expectations of the government of Pakistan are. Washington also says that Pakistan has made it clear publicly, repeatedly, that it's not going to discriminate against militant groups. And US Secretary of State John Kerry yesterday condemned a military encounter in the Baltic Sea by 2 Russian warplanes as dangerous and provocative. Kerry said that the US military would have been within its rights to shoot down the Russian aircraft that flew close to one of its warships. Washington has raised its concerns over the incident with Moscow earlier. US officials also released photos and videos of the incidents which showed 2 jets flying within meters of the US ship on Monday. The US has described repeated flights by the Sukhoi Su-24 bombers as one of the most aggressive interactions in recent history between US and Russia. Russia, however, has said that the jets that flew near the US destroyer respected all safety rules.
The Secretary was alarmed at looking at seeing the imagery and the reports of these overflights, these passes on the USS Donald Cook. He found it unprofessional, needlessly provocative, and indeed dangerous. And I can tell you that he will raise it directly with Foreign Minister Lavrov.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has said that the hike in visa fee by the United States is discriminatory and largely affects the Indian IT professionals. Jaitley said this during a bilateral meeting with the US Trade Representative Ambassador in Washington. Jaitley also underlined the need for early conclusion of totalization agreement, which would benefit Indians working in America. Last year, the US Congress imposed a special fee of up to $4,500 on H-1B and L-1 visas, popular among Indian IT companies, to fund a 9/11 Healthcare Act and biometric tracking system. While agreeing on the $1.1 trillion spending bill, congressional leaders decided to impose a special fee of $4,000 on certain categories of H-1B visas and also $4,500 on L-1 visas. Now, as per industry estimates, Indian professionals contributed more than $25 billion to the US Social Security during the last decade without being able to retrieve their contributions. The US has entered into agreements called totalization agreements with several nations for the purpose of avoiding double taxation of income with respect to Social Security taxes. Jaitley, who is currently on an official trip to Washington, will attend the spring meetings of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank and also other sessions. Another short break here. We'll be back in just a moment.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back once again. Now, just a day after Myanmar was hit by an earthquake, tremors of which were also hit in parts of India, a powerful 6.4 magnitude quake struck Japan late last night. Huge damage has been incurred both in terms of life and property on the Kyushu island that's been severely hit. At least 9 people are reported to have died, while nearly 750 people have been injured. Rescue work is on as we speak. Officials fear more people could be trapped under the debris. Nuclear reactors, fortunately, on the island are reported to be safe. A powerful 6.4 magnitude earthquake hit southern Japan on Thursday night, collapsing homes, buckling roads and sparking fires, killing at least 9 people. Over 700 people are reported to be injured, even as officials continue to scramble to rescue those feared trapped under the debris. Thousands of people fled their homes and many spent the night in the open as aftershocks continued. The quake struck at around 9:26 p.m. at a depth of 11 kilometers near the city of Kumamoto on the island of Kyushu. Residents of Masiki town on Kyushu Island have been hit the hardest as the place has virtually been reduced to rubble. Fortunately, there has been no damage to the nuclear reactors on the island.
現在、被害状況の全容把握に全力を挙げておるところでありますが、複数の家屋が倒壊しているとの情報があります。また原子力施設については被害の情報は入っておりません。
No tsunami warning was issued after the powerful earthquake, but as a precautionary measure, all high-speed trains were halted and power supply snapped in affected areas. Hundreds of military personnel were immediately dispatched for rescue work on the Kyushu island as the government urged people to stay calm and help each other.
テレビ、ラジオなどの情報にも注意し、お互いに助け合い、落ち着いて行動していただくようお願い申し上げます。
According to the country's meteorological agency, there were multiple aftershocks, the largest one with a preliminary magnitude of 6.4 shortly after midnight. A quake of such high intensity had hit Japan back in 2011, causing tsunami waves along the coast, which killed nearly 20,000 people and triggered a meltdown at a nuclear power plant. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And time now for some more international updates in World Wrap. In further setback to Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff, the country's Supreme Court upheld the voting order fixed by the lower house of Congress for Sunday's impeachment vote against her. In a special late-night session on Thursday, a majority of the justices rejected an injunction sought by Rousseff's party to overturn the voting order on impeachment. The court, however, is yet to rule on Rousseff's request to suspend Sunday's vote. Meanwhile, support for the Brazilian president continues to evaporate in Congress. The largest centrist party in the government's coalition, the Social Democratic Party, has instructed its members to vote for the president's impeachment on Sunday. Canada's Liberal government unveiled a draft legislation on doctor-assisted suicide on Thursday. It would apply to adults suffering incurable illness or disability. Legislators will vote on the draft law, which also applies only to Canadians and residents in the country, in the next few weeks. The law is expected to get passed as Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Liberals have a majority in Parliament. Under the law, patients would have to make a written request for medical assistance in dying or have a designated person to do so if they are unable to do that. There would also be a mandatory waiting period of at least 15 days in many cases, and patients would be able to withdraw a request at any time. The Saudi-led coalition launched a round of fresh airstrikes on Shiite Houthi militant group targets in Yemeni capital Sana'a yesterday, just 4 days after a UN-brokered ceasefire went into effect in the war-torn country. The latest airstrikes have further strained the ceasefire and marred the prospect of the peace talks scheduled for 18th of April in Kuwait. Residents said that the coalition airstrikes hit a Houthi military base that houses rockets in the Faj Atan district in Sana'a. Both the warring sides blame each other for violations of the ceasefire. And on to sports news now. India will take on hosts Malaysia today in a do-or-die battle for a place in the finals in their last group game of the Sultan Azlan Shah Cup. India have been unimpressive in the tournament except for the 5-1 win over arch rivals Pakistan. And with a defeat in the last game against New Zealand, India needs to win against Malaysia today to ensure their place in the finals.
थ्रू पास मनप्रीत सिंह का इसके उत्तपा के लिए तलविंदर ने दिखाया कि बैकहैंड मारे.
In the last meeting between these two teams, 5-time winner India shattered Malaysia's hopes of qualifying for the Olympic Games by winning 3-2 in last year's World League semi-finals at Antwerp. A draw or a loss for India will mean that New Zealand will take on Australia in Sunday's final.
दानिश और उतना ही ओपन स्पेस में बॉल मिले निक विल्सन को, उन्होंने कोई गलती नहीं की.
And that's all we have for you in this bulletin. Thanks for your time.